All right, everybody. You know what time it is. The Real Talk Sports Show is coming up right now. Bam! We are here, folks. You are watching, listening, and probably on the replay, checking out the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, Minister Jonathan Simmons, and we thank God for all those of you who are joining us here on the live broadcast. And again, big shout out to those of you watching on the replay on Periscope, those of you watching on demand on YouTube, or just kind of watching on somebody's page on Facebook Live. We appreciate you. And also a big shout out to those who are watching us live on the Roku channel on a couple of networks, the Phoenix Entertainment Network and the Searoom Sports and News Entertainment Network. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. We'll put on our shades for just a moment. Why? Because one of the most beautiful women in sports talk is about to enter the lockdown living room. She is a multi-talented former athlete. I should say an athlete, never a former. And she is the current reigning Ms. America International. The lovely Queen Tree Dolman is in the building. Welcome back, sister.
Hello, how are you? Thank you so much. You always make me feel so special again.
You are special because you are the queen. Again, always good to have you back joining us here in the building. Another a rock'em sock'em weekend in sports, so we got lots to talk about.
We do. Exciting stuff.
Exciting stuff is right. Well, first of all, let's get to the basic stuff. How was your weekend?
My weekend was all right. It was. I worked and watched sports, and one of the girls that I coached when she was just a young girl with volleyball, and she's leaving to go to Howard University. So went and said, see you soon, and wished her well. But yes, I had a wonderful weekend. How was your weekend?
My weekend was filled with like what most sports fans here in Atlanta, a great weekend as our Atlanta Hawks shook up the world. I wouldn't say the weekend because it really was yesterday. Yesterday was Monday. But yeah, up and down, they kind of threw us off a little bit as they lost game 3, but roared back to win game 4. And I now think are right in the middle of possibly taking the series from the 76ers. And we'll be talking about that a little bit later on in the broadcast. Good stuff. Good stuff. Speaking of broadcast, let's take a look here at some of the things we'll be talking about today. Our topics are Hawks versus, that's not BS, it's actually VS. Sorry for my bad typo there. Game 4, NBA playoff, Phoenix rising out west. A quick little peek at the WNBA, the Dream, and some of the others. And of course, those of you who follow us on the regular, you know that second Tuesday is Jonesboro Tuesday. Jonesboro High School football will be back in the spotlight. Julio Jones is now officially a Tennessee Titan. Talk about how good their offense possibly can be. And Falcons watch, looking at some of the players who might be able to make an impact on offense, guys like Quadri Allison, Kyle Pitts, the rookie, Russell Gage, and the new free agent, Mike Davis. So we're going to be looking at a little bit of everything. But again, we're going to focus, of course, on our Atlanta Hawks because they balled out. I mean, they did big stuff over the last 2 days. And we're going to have our good buddy Deshaun Tate join us in just a little bit to talk about that as well. Well, while we're waiting for him, let's talk a little bit about something we don't really mention too much because, you know, it is kind of men's basketball going on and we got the NBA playoffs. But, Tree, have you been able to peek just a little bit at the WNBA 25th anniversary and, of course, our hometown Atlanta Dream?
I have not seen the Atlanta Dream, but I have watched some WNBA games.
And what have you thought about the play of the WNBA? We're now 25 full years in. What have you noticed that maybe is a little different because a lot of people don't know, but you tried out for the league yourself. And what do you think might need a little bit of improvement as we go forward, maybe?
You know, one thing that I would really suggest, and one thing, well, I don't want to say suggest because it takes money, but what I hope that will happen, I hope that they will add more teams to the WNBA. When you look at the number of WNBA teams and the number of WNBA players, how they have rosters, their rosters filled, it's actually not a lot of women that play in the WNBA. And most people actually don't even realize that a lot of the players that get drafted, they don't even make the team. So you get excited, you go through this wonderful draft. Hey, I'm drafted to this team, and then you get cut. And that actually happens to a lot of players that get drafted in the WNBA draft. So what I would love to see from the WNBA is for them to add more teams so that there's more opportunities for young women to play on these teams, because anyone that gets drafted should definitely make a team if you are drafted pretty much in the first few rounds.
Right. So hopefully we can see more of that as we go forward. And we can see, again, just more teams added. I don't know how they're going to do it. I guess what they're really concerned about is profitability. I'm not sure where the league is. I know they've improved, but that's one of the things I know they're going to be looking at to try to see if they can make sure that everybody makes more money and makes money. Speaking of making money, this is a guy that made his money on the fields of the National Football League, a veteran of over a decade. I want to say it's 14 years. He'll correct me. I'm sure I'm wrong. First round draft pick from out of Fort Valley State from the Carolina Panthers, and won not one but two Super Bowl rings with the New England Patriots. I'm talking about author, motivational speaker, and all-around good guy, and also the defensive back coach of Clark Atlanta University. The one and only Tyrone Poole is in the building. Sir, welcome back.
Hi, how you doing, Minister? How you doing, Miss Tree?
Hi, Tyrone.
Hi. Hope everybody's well, all those that are listening and watching Real Talk Sports.
Yes, sir. Everybody, I think, is doing well, and we're excited to be here. A big weekend in sports. As always, it seems like every weekend now is big as we move to the summertime. Well, first of all, Tyrone, how was your weekend personally for you, sir?
All is well. Like I always tell people, if I woke up, I was above the ground, and I'm in my right mind, then nothing else really matters. So, so with that being said, I had a great, awesome weekend.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, brother. 'Cause I share those same sentiments. The guys, after I had a little situation where I had to get an operation. So I tell people all the time, man, yeah, anytime you can be in the land of living and able to kind of eat and take on nourishment is, yeah, it's always a good thing. Yeah, definitely a blessing. Well, Tyrone, I'll phrase the same question to you. Don't know, have you had a chance to peek at all and look at any WNBA games this year? If so, what's kind of your feeling now as they are in year number 25? With this. It's no longer an experiment. The women are here to play.
Yeah, definitely. It's no longer an experiment. And 25 years into the game, I'm pretty sure the league has learned a lot of what not to do and what they need to continue to improve on. But the game is still the game. You got to dribble. You got 5 women on the court, and the object is to score more points than your opponent. So right now, the Seattle Storm, they still are the defending champions. So until somebody knocks the Storm off, then they got the bragging rights for this 2021 season.
Yeah, no doubt. They have been a force in the league for a while. So, yeah, we're going to continue to look for them to do some stuff here. Our own hometown Atlanta Dream, over the years, they have actually been a pretty good team. They went to the finals twice. A couple of years ago before the COVID hit, I got a chance to see them in a thrilling Eastern Division square off against the eventual champion Washington Mystics. They had a chance actually to get by them, but Miss Deladon, who was the MVP of the playoffs that year, had a big fourth quarter, and later went on to lead the Mystics to their first national title. And speaking of the Mystics, and speaking of women, a lot of people may or may not know, but the former Miss Johnson, who used to be the wife of the owner of BET. She actually was one of the majority owner of the Mystics, and also is a minority owner with the NHL hockey team. So, she's been holding it down for the women in business, too.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really good. I love to see the ownership with the WNBA teams.
Yeah,
and I also want to put out there that everybody should get the WNBA League Pass so that you can watch the WNBA games. We all know that they only televise a few of the games on television, but if you purchase the League Pass, which I believe is $16.99 for the entire season, and you can actually watch all of the games online, and you can go back and see different games. So it's really a nice thing to have. So I've had it for a few years and I enjoy it. So just putting that out there. It would definitely help support the WNBA, which we all should be doing in this 25th season.
Wow.
That's
Okay. Right. Well, I tell you what you're telling me is that my best silver anniversary gift to WNBA would be to buy a ticket. That WNBA ticket at the house.
That's what they need.
Yeah. All right. Well, then I'm gonna go ahead and break it down. Let's not take a look here online at the standings, and this is the top 8 ranking right now as it stands. The Seattle Storm, defending champions, 10-2. Connecticut Sun from my home state, 8-3. The Las Vegas Aces, our good friend Miss Rusha Brown is out there as an executive, 8-3. The New York Liberty 6-4. Our Atlanta Dream currently in 5th place, 5-6. 4-2 in the conference. They seem to be struggling at home. They're only 2-4 at home. Dallas Wings 5-6. Phoenix Mercury 5-6, and the Minnesota Lynx at 4-5, alongside with the Sparks as well. So those are your top teams in the WNBA. Some of those names I mentioned, you're kind of always used to having them being at the top of the roof. So firstly, the Los Angeles Sparks, I'll give a big shout out to them. One of their key players in that team is from Atlanta. Miss Tia Cooper, I should say Mrs. Dwight Howard, is out there balling out for the Sparks. So big shout out to her. Huh? No more?
They're not together.
Correction. Gotta correct that, minister.
Yeah.
OMG. Didn't they just get married? I mean, how long was it? Did I misunderstand? I thought they got married happily, like not that long ago, no?
You're correct. It wasn't that long ago, but this isn't a gossip show, so I'm not going to go there. I'm just letting you know that they're not together.
Dang. Breaking news on Real Talk Sports. Well, probably not breaking news to me. But there you go. All right, well, let me go to social media for a second here so I can get out of trouble. Let's go here to social media. And we have our man here, affiliate man, a.k.a. Todd. He is telling us, Preacher, we as Falcons fans got a problem. Pick of the week, Matt Ryan at camp with a baseball cap doing exercises, and Coach Smith behind him looking confused. Well, Todd, we're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the football segment, but evidently I ain't going to say anything's not well or who's well at the camp, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the segment, because, this is also Jonesboro Tuesday, and I can see already the Jonesboro crew is assembling in the green room. So at the 6:15 moment, we will bring them back on and let them kind of talk to us about what's been going on with the summer. Just as you guys know, we will be bringing some stuff in as the time goes on. We get closer to summer. We're going to actually do some visitation. My cameraman says he's going to be out and about, so hopefully we'll have some good video of what's going on in high school football, both here on Clayton County, and even going to bring some stuff in from Gwinnett County and Atlanta Public Schools. So if you got a school you want us to feature, please, ma'am, please, sir, let us know. Let me go and pop my number up on the screen. I'll tell you what it is right now for those of you listening, 678-410-9833. Call me up. We'd be loved to put your favorite high school on our show. So, again, speaking of our show, you guys don't go nowhere. We have to take a little bit of a break, and then we're going to come back with the Cardinals of Jonesboro High School. You're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show and watching us everywhere you can. You know how we do it, but don't go nowhere. We'll be back. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our number one priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net. The day has arrived. It's time to let more people know about your business. You have the right marketing plan and the messaging in place. But do you have the right messenger? Good advertising and promotions need a professional sound so the message can be clearly understood. Don't leave your brand image to chance. Let our team of voiceover experts at CME lend you a hand. Give us a call at 678-304-8121 to find out how we can partner with you to give your business its voice. That's right, guys. We're back. Let me know if you need voiceover help. We have myself and a couple other people that will do a great job. If you got like those, when you get the phone calls where it says, now dial 9-1, dial line 2, anything like that, give us a call. We can help you out. We'll be the voice behind your voicemails or even for your business. Again, give me a call, 678-410-9833. All right, guys, you know what time it is. It is that time. We have Jonesboro High School football in the building. Let's go first to the head coach. The one and only Mr. Timothy Floyd is now in the building. Coach Floyd, welcome back, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Coach, it looks like you got a full house here today. So we're gonna bring another coach on, a guy that's your social media expert. We call him just simply Syrup. Coach Syrup is in the building. Coach, are you there?
Yes, I am. How you guys doing?
Hey, Coach Floyd, you notice how he comes in all low key and smooth. Yeah, how you doing?
Yeah.
I'm here. Like he's not the guy that blows everything up on social media. He's like, oh, I'm just that guy.
Like that smooth syrup.
So there you go. Well, Coach, who do you have with you today to talk to us?
A couple of guys that made out these guys on our 3.0 maybe honor roll list. So we thought it'd be good to bring them on.
Amen. All right. Well, let's go first to I believe Mr. Christopher Duggar. You're in the building, sir.
Hello.
How are you, sir? The 3.0 man. Let's go also to, hope I have it right, Rodney Walker. If I didn't get it right, pronounce it for me, brother. Did I get it right?
You got it right.
All right. And last but not least, he's incognito. Michael Glover's in the building. Michael, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
There he is. All right. Let's go to social media real quick, because I'm sure we got a lot of comments here from parents and the like. We're going to go to social media. And on YouTube, there it is. Young, y'all have to pronounce me because I can't read that. So who done jumped onto the line? Tree, can you help us? You're like my interpreter.
One young Brando.
Young one Grando's in the building. He said, yes, sir. And Coach Syrup. So getting a big shout out already from YouTube. We appreciate you guys. All right. So, Tree, I know you always get excited when we have young men that are doing big things. I'm sure you have some questions for these fellas in terms of kudos and 3.0. How about that?
No, I love that. So we all know that we're called student athletes for a reason. It's all about being a student first and getting good grades, and then also competing on the field. So all of you have at least a 3.0. And so I want to know pretty much what is your schedule, what is your routine that helps keep you successful in the classroom as well as on the field?
Christopher, I guess we'll go to you first.
Yes.
My routine is just making sure I make sure all my assignments are in for that day. Make sure if I need any help, I ask my teacher.
All right, that sounds good. I like that. All right, let's see what we'll go to here. How about Rodney? How about you next?
I make sure all my work is completed, had no missing assignments. That's really it. Study if I need to.
Michael, how about you?
You gotta study. Make sure all your work turned in. That's pretty much it.
Okay. So I want to know because for me, I always had my work done before I went to practice. Do you guys find it easier to do your work before practice, or is it easier for you to do your work after practice?
Before.
Before.
Yeah. Okay.
As a former student athlete myself, I used to fall asleep after practice trying to do my homework. So
Really?
I didn't quite make this club.
Tyrone, did you have any secrets as far as study habits that these young men, of course, they're honor roll students, but do you have any other suggestions or comments that you can give to them to help them along this journey?
Oh, I didn't actually hear you. I kind of froze up a little bit. Technology. But what was your question again?
Yeah. So what I was saying is that these young men are all honor students, but like you said, you've been down that road yourself. any suggestions or tips that you give these young men as they continue to go down this road of being high achievers, academically speaking?
You know what? I may be the wrong person academically, because I'm telling you, things have changed since I was in school. It's more academically, definitely. You have to, be on your P's and Q's. Even though I coach at Clark Atlanta, I know that you gotta, most schools want students with high GPAs, and that in itself just tells a lot about the athlete. Your commitment to your study, your commitment to yourself, your commitment to life off the field. But when I say I'm probably the wrong one to talk to that about, I've learned. I went back and got my degree, but when I was coming through, I'm like, I ate, slept, and drink sports. And I think the toughest thing for athletes today is to be able to divide that balance, should I say, the academics and the athletics, because you have to stay on your game on both. You may be good enough to get through high school, but if you're trying to go to college, academically, yes, that is needed. But also, you got to be competitive on that athletic side, because in high school you may be the best athlete on the field, the best athlete out of all the 10 games that you play. And then you get to college, oh, it goes up. The talent level goes up even more. So you're no longer the fastest guy on the team, the strongest guy, but you still can be the smartest person within your own right. So you always take advantage of your your academic ability, because as I learned, and I'll say this in closing, the people always talk about real estate. I'm going to buy a house. That's considered real estate. You got real estate agents, but the greatest real estate that I've learned that you can develop is the real estate that's 6 inches between your ears. So if you can develop that real estate, then you can build a great future. So I'll leave you guys with that.
I think that's spot on right there. Coach Serp, and you, I think you do a lot with the O-line and some of the other guys there. I mean, how important is it for you to have guys that are good student athletes? Do you find them more coachable? What are some of the things that you find as a coach that makes it great to have these young men be high achievers in the academic world?
Well, I think about when it comes to recruiting. I mean, like Coach said, you gotta have good grades. Coach look for people with high GPAs because they're, less of a thing to worry about. So we want to make sure that we're telling our guys to get your grades, raise your GPAs, or try to shoot just not for a 2.5, try to shoot for a 3.0 or 3.5. So grades to me are very important. I was the one that had a 3.5 in high school. I would do my work in class, so when I got home after practice, I'm just taking a shower and chilling. So I took grades very serious, and I also tell the guys, take it very serious.
I like how Coach said he just be chilling. He just kind of got all that stuff done. Tree sounds like you just knocked it all out early, and they said, "Okay, I'm on cruise control now. That's it." Well, Coach Floyd, how about you? First of all, do you kind of meld that in as part of your job set to say, "Look, not only do I want these guys to be great on the football field, but off the field"?
Yes, that's really basically a part of our definition of student athlete. Getting it done on the field, in the class, and in the community. And I think guys that I tell them if they can't get it done in the classroom, they're what I consider an athletic student instead of student athlete. Being able to balance those things that it takes to be successful.
I like how you put that. Let's go to social media here again. We got Miss Holly Douglas saying, "Outstanding, gentlemen." Big shout out from her. Yeah, listen, man. I mean, all the stuff that you guys are doing, it is huge. Because now you guys are all young, and I know when us OGs come out here, y'all be like, "Oh my gosh!" But believe it or not, we were high schoolers long time ago, but we were. So we, believe it or not, we went through all the same stuff. We had to go to class. We had to kind of be on our, on our good behavior, all that kind of stuff. But what you find out is in the long run, it pays off, because your education, man, that's going to stay with you forever. I mean, you might get an injury, your career might be cut short, or you might not be good enough to be professional in a particular sport. But if you got those grades, you can make an impact, man, and you can do a lot for yourself and for your community and for your family. Let's go here and back to social media here. Simone Beasley out of Detroit. He says, "Yup, he loves the way the coach put it." And so do we, man. It's just great stuff going on. He said, "Yup, student athlete versus an athletic student." Because we forget. All right, coaches, I'm gonna ask both of you this question. I'm gonna bring it back to Tree again because I know she got, stuff that she wants to talk about. Um, as far as the parent-coach relationship, how do you guys manage that? Because I know I've been at the games and sometimes it's been a little uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Vociferous. Yeah,
Vociferous.
yeah, vociferous. I hear a lot of this from the stands by overzealous parents. How do you guys keep that balance, Coach? I'm gonna go to you first because it usually falls on the head coach before it hits anybody else.
Well, I think it starts with building relationships off the field first, and I know things get heated up in the heat of battle. Everybody's on pins and needles about what's going on the field. But I've had to learn to try to tune that out. I hear it sometimes, but if I'm gonna tell the guys they got to block out all the distractions and focus on their job, then I have to demonstrate that myself. Now the ones I have to worry about is my wife up in the stands. Her dad's a preacher, a pastor, and he had to have to calm her down sometimes based on what she hear the fans saying.
Ooh,
So.
that's real talk. Coach Serb, how about you? How do you manage that as well?
Like I said, you gotta make a relationship at first. I mean, you hear, I mean, just like you're gonna hear, the people that's with you, you're gonna hear the people that's not with you. So you gotta, let go in one ear, not the other. And it's kind of good also because we have the headsets on, so you hear some of it, but you don't hear all of it. But I mean, you just gotta keep it moving.
Tree, that sounds great. I know you've done a little coaching yourself. What do you think about how these guys manage all that stuff that's going on with parents and us
Yeah.
folks and the fans?
Yeah, I've done a lot of coaching actually. So when coaching football is completely different from coaching volleyball and basketball, which is the two sports that I used to coach. But you do have to focus on your team and you do set the example. So one of the things I would always tell my players, whether it was basketball or volleyball, ignore the crowd. I never wanted to see any of my players talking to the crowd or, going off on referees, whether the call was a good call or bad call, because you represent me. So I would always let them know, you let me deal with the refs, you let me deal with if somebody's in the stands being disrespectful or something, I'll take care of that. You focus and you play either basketball or volleyball, whatever the sport was. There were just a couple of times where there were some parents in the stands and just being really negative. And I just turned around and gave them that Detroit stare. And then they stopped, with the shenanigans because it was, sometimes parents honestly can be very disrespectful. And a lot of parents, I would just say they're honestly the reason I stopped coaching. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Tyrone, if I'm not mistaken, maybe I am wrong. Is this your first stint coaching, number one? And number two, have you had yet to deal with, obviously no games being played, but have you had to deal with any type of parental intervention beyond the pale at this point?
No, it's not my first time coaching, period. I coach my kids from third grade, all their sports. I coach high school and I coach college. This is what I say about the parents. Okay, you got some parents, most of the coaches not going to hear a problem from the parents who really don't understand the sport, who probably are working 9 to 5 real hard. They give all autonomy to the coaches. And the coaches that have the parents that bring the most problems are going to be the ones who sit, either they played the game or they're studying YouTube, getting some advice from somebody else. So those are the ones that usually bring the problems. But at the end of the day, if you're a coach and you're working with salt, and yes, you have the relationship, but if you understand what you're doing, you're not going to have too many problems from the parents. Because when you tell them something, they're going to look at it and say, okay, you kind of know what you're talking about, but I've seen it. But the one thing you can do as a coach is not have that relationship, like they said, the coaches are saying, with the parents. So you got to be honest, have an honest assessment about their kids. Now, I'm going to say this little story. about a kid who tested an adult. The kid, it was very true. Kids want the truth. They want you to tell them the truth. So this kid actually drew a picture, okay? And this is what was told to me. He drew a picture and then gave it to the coach and said, "Hey, does this picture look good?" The kid knew that he had drawn an ugly picture. Now, he did it on purpose just to check that coach. And the coach, "Oh, no, this is a beautiful picture." Right then, he lost the player right there. So again, I understand, the relationship. The relationship also means telling the truth. And I think if we as coaches, and I'm a coach, I tell my players, you ask any of my coaches at Clark Atlanta or anybody in high school, the things they're going to say about me, they're going to say that I'm a fair coach. I tell the truth. I'm going to tell you to the best of my ability, but I'm also going to do what's right. If you can do it, I'm going to give you more. If you can't, then we got to find some kind of way to get better. That's just point blank. But today, people don't want to hear the truth. They want you to, kind of sugarcoat. And that's not me.
Me either. I tell the truth too. I'm a disciplinarian. So I'm a tough coach, and I tell every player that before I pick them on my team. This is going to be the hardest you've ever worked in your life. I tell the parents, your daughter will come home crying about once or twice, but the parents are in practice. And I also do what I preach, though. That's why I love for my players to come and watch me play, because they also see, oh, okay, Coach Tree, she's not just telling us to do this. She actually does it too. And this is why she coaches the way she does. But I understand that coaching volleyball is completely different from coaching football. And I also understand that being a female coach is completely different from having a male coach, because you get a lot of parents who honestly, they just they don't respect a lot of female coaches, but they do respect the male coaches that you have. So.
Well,
Detroit there. Detroit represent.
Go ahead, Coach. What you saying now? Go ahead.
I would say with basketball and volleyball coaches, you got parents and stuff right there on your back, so that's really tough right there. At least I got a little buffer. Where in most stadiums we have a little buffer.
Yeah.
Let's go back to social media. Our good friend H.C. Hardy said the things that are instilled by coaches also shows in the workplace. It's true. The work ethics that they learn in the field and consistent routine as an athlete and a student is an advantage in their careers that many of us are pursuing. So he says hashtag leadership, hashtag teamwork. There's no doubt, man. I mean, if you look around the halls of power in this nation, especially, you find a lot of former football players and a lot of former athletes in general, but definitely them upper echelon, a lot of former football players, because football stresses you. I don't want to necessarily say more, but it seems like to me more than almost any other sport, the amount of pressure and Tree's giving me the X sign. I'm not sure what she's telling me.
Yeah, you're saying it's just men. So you said it right. A lot of athletes. It's not just football players. You see a lot of volleyball and basketball players too. It's a lot of women who play sports that's up at the top too. I just wanted to, represent for my ladies.
And I say this too as well on this topic about coaching youth. I also think I don't know about Jonesboro, but I have had my stints with high school sports and coaches. I think some of these coaches, they're professional athletes, men and women that want to come back and help the youth. But some of these high school coaches close the door on them. I don't know whether they intimidated by the fact that these guys have gone on and they've learned a lot. And they trying to, they may take my job. Or the kids may migrate to them. Well, at the end of the day, what is the main purpose, right? The main purpose is to get these kids educated on and off the field. And who better more than to have someone to come back if they want to be a part of your program, to build your program. So I think some of these high school coaches, the reason why some of these parents be upset with them is because they try to make it all about them. They want to get their next job to go to college or the next job. At the end of the day, what is it? Is it your career or is it about the coaches? And the kids are the ones that are caught in the middle.
Good point.
Coach, have you found that? I mean, I know here locally, obviously, we got a lot of guys that have played. Matter of fact, there are some coaches right now in Clayton County that either they themselves played in the league or they have, relatives that played in the league. So do you think that Clayton County's got a pretty good handle on that? Any comments of what we could do to improve, in general?
From our stand, from my point of view, I love when guys that graduate from Jonesboro go on to school and come back, and they go on to school to play, maybe go to profession and come back to give back. I mean, they know if they ever come back to visit, they always got to say something. And I do think it's I would love to have those guys come in and help out, because there's a lot that I can still learn about coaching, and I try to learn from everybody that I talk to. It's just I think kind of going through the system of becoming a coach is kind of a tedious process in the county, which can most definitely be tweaked some to help out that situation. And go ahead.
No. I'm excited, man, because I'm sensing an opportunity here. I'm sensing an opportunity to maybe we can have some conversations with getting some former players, especially guys obviously that played in Clayton County, to kind of see if we can kind of maybe contact these guys and get with you guys and see if we can't get more interaction, man. Because I mean, with all these resources here, it would seem to make sense. I know some guys can't do it, but there's plenty of guys I'm sure that would want to do it. So that's I'm gonna get a sidebar with maybe Tyrone and maybe a couple other guys that from the NFLPA that are located here in Atlanta. This is the largest chapter of retired NFL players in the country. That's my understanding. So there's certainly a lot of guys here. And like I said again, speaking of Jonesboro, who better than right up there at 92.9 and ESPN, Harry Douglas, Jonesboro guy, played in the league. So we'll see if we can help you guys and reach out to some of these athletes and see if we can have a happy meeting of the mind, man, because we're all trying to do the same thing, man, which is make the next generation better.
And
that's what it's all about, is giving back.
I can say from my experience of being at Jonesboro and at North Clayton, the guys that I've had opportunity to interact with, I think they do a great job of giving back one way or another. Whether it's from the North Clayton days with Morgan Burnett and Kyle Love, through now with Cam Sutton with the Steelers, and of course the Harry Douglas up there.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So I'm excited about it, and I know a lot of these guys do camps and other things. So hopefully, like I said again, we can get more better. That we can have even more of it, because I think it's only going to just help everybody. It's going to help the students. It's going to help the schools, help the county, and like you said again, you're really kind of pouring back into the next generation. Well, guys, listen, man, we're always excited about you guys coming on. So let's talk a little bit more football here. What do you guys got coming up? Any more scrimmage games before the first game of the season, or is it just practice right now?
Just practice right now, conditioning, getting in the weight room. We hit a few 7-on-7 tournaments, and we'll scrimmage August 6th at Cartersville before we, have the opener against the school around the corner.
You can tell it's a rivalry game because he won't mention them by name. He just said the school around the corner. So, well, Coach, do you have any 7-on-7 games that coming up that maybe fans might be able to want to take a look at? And we certainly like to publicize it on the show if you do.
This Friday, we're going to Rockdale County. One of my favorite Falcons players is actually hosting the 7-on-7.
Okay.
Grady Jarrett. Yeah, Grady Jarrett. 7-on-7 tournament and camp this Friday at Rockdale County. And when we get back from the dead week, I think it's July 8th, Cam Sutton is hosting a 7-on-7 tournament at Southern Crescent Stadium. So, that's just a couple of things that, we got coming up in the area.
That sounds good.
That's Coach Floyd a question.
Yes, sir.
A real deal question here now. It's 7-on-7. Okay. I want your honest opinion. I'm put you on you're on the stands. Raise your right hand now. Raise your right hand. How beneficial do you really think these 7-on-7s are? Do you think they are really teaching the kids skills, or you think it's more about a money thing?
I think it's more on the money side, but then the way we approach it, it's we're gonna actually work on things that we're gonna use. I think it's good for the quarterback and the receivers to kind of work on routes and timings, for our DBs and linebackers to, find where they fit in the different zones and stuff. But some of the tournaments we've gone to, they have kind of been money grabs, and I try to stay away from those because I really want an opportunity for us to get better, and an opportunity for us to teach, and that's really what I try to find when we attend 7-on-7s. And I hate it for the linebackers because they just shoot out of there, and we have to break that habit before we line down in August.
That's an interesting point. When I guess again from a novice, because I've covered a couple of 7-on-7s. I've done Cams and I've done Cam Newtons and a couple other guys from around the area. And for me, when I went, again, I'm from an unschooled eye. It looks like, at least like you said, offensively, guys were getting some kind of work done. But when you say money grab, kind of explain to me, is a huge fees involved? Y'all went that over my head like this. Choo.
Yeah, I guess the average cost of attending a 7-on-7 tournament would be $300 to $350, and some have even gotten up to $600 or so. But like I said, I'd rather just go in the backyard and toss it around with some of the schools in the area so we can teach and learn.
Well, that like I said, that's something now I have learned and been educated about the dollars and cents that go on. But listen, I mean, I see that in AAU basketball. I see this in a lot of these different leagues where I see, I've had friends who are single parents, and they were telling me how much money, how much strain it was on them financially to take their sons in these road games and the fees they had to pay in the uniform. So, yeah, man, anything that can be a blessing and help. Let's go to social media one more time here. Coach Hardy, now he's shouting at the Mustangs. I don't think he's talking about them, bro. I think he's talking about the Mount Zion Bulldogs, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, the Mustangs, they come up a little bit later on. And Hardy also says, Coach Serb, you may wear red and black, but you still bleed the green and gold. Uh-oh. Coach Serb, were you a Mustang back in the day, Coach Serb?
Yes, sir. I was a Mustang back in the day.
Oh, there it is. See, all this breaking news on the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm getting educated just by the minute. How about that? Praise the Lord. Well, listen, go ahead, Tree.
Yeah, I just want to ask Christopher and Gerardney a question. So I know that your coaches were talking about how you guys are big with the community. So I want to know, what are some of the community service that you two involve yourself in, or what are different ways that you help out your community as current football players and athletes that a lot of young people look up to?
Last election, I worked at the polls.
Awesome.
I like that. How was your experience doing that?
It was great getting to see people coming in and out, voting.
All right, I think my man here, DeAndre, were you going to answer? Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, Coach Floyd, he allows us to do these volunteers, like feed the homeless and stuff. Start partaking in that.
I love that. Because community is very important. So I love both of what you all are doing. I actually have been volunteering since before I even knew what giving back was. I just always wanted to give back. So I love that that's a big part of your program. It says a lot about your coaches, and it also says a lot about you too. So thank you for what you do for your community. Keep up the great work.
I love it, man. We got a lot of good stuff going on. Again, guys, if you want to support them, please, sir, check out Jonesboro football. Matter of fact, if you're in the Clayton County area, support your local team. The COVID is not gone. I don't want to say that, but certainly it is under more restraint than in times past. So come on out, watch some football. You can listen. They play about an 8 or 9 game season. While it's still warm, come out and see a game. Support the team. When they have fundraisers, buy the T-shirts, buy the chicken dinners. Y'all know what to do. Support your local community. All right. Coach Serb, how can people find out more about what y'all got going on? Because you're the man on social media. Come on.
On Facebook, you can find us at Jonesboro High. On Instagram, you can find us at JHS Cardinal Football. On Twitter, you can find us at JHS Cardinal FB and Recruit J Burrow FB.
Y'all everywhere, man. And Coach Serb he's that little guy, like it's been the machine. You can't see him. That's him. Coach Serb behind the screen, motivating and getting all their stuff done. Well, guys, listen, man, as we always do, second Tuesday, Jonesboro Tuesday. We appreciate you. Before you guys go, one more time, this social media, our good friend from DNK Sioux City, H.C. Hardy, he says, what things that coaches, parents, and communities can do better to help develop these kids that don't quite have the talent or make the team? Any suggestions to the general community to kind of support these young men? Like Tree said, sometimes people, they try out, they don't make it.
Well, we don't cut guys from the team. Because we feel we have a lot more to offer than actually being on the field on Friday nights. Like with the community service, staying on them about their academics and teaching them just things about life. So when you do see our guys out in the community, encourage them to, keep fighting and keep pushing. Give them a nugget that they can use with them, use later on in life, because we are expecting them to go on to be great husbands and great fathers and great leaders in the community. So that encouragement that you can give them would be excellent.
Well, there it is, guys. We can't end the segment any better than that. All right, everybody. We appreciate you guys. And listen, don't go away. We got to take a commercial break, but we'll be back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show as we broadcast to you everywhere. We'll be back.
Thank you.
The day has arrived. It's time to let more people know about your business. You have the right marketing plan and the messaging in place. But do you have the right messenger? Good advertising and promotions need a professional sound so the message can be clearly understood. Don't leave your brand image to chance. Let our team of voiceover experts at CME lend you a hand. Give us a call at 678-304-8121 to find out how we can partner with you to give your business its voice.
This is OJ Howard with Real Talk Sports.
What's up, guys? This is Tim Tebow. You're listening to Real Talk Sports.
This is Charles Woodson. Let me grab the mic. You ready? This is Charles Woodson with Real Talk Sports. Hey, it's your boy JB Smooth with Real Talk Sports.
And we're back here with the Real Talk Sports Show. As you can see around the horn, we have the lovely Miss Tree Dolman, the queen, and we have the champion, Tyrone Poole, in the building as well. All right, guys, we're going to talk before we go to football. We cannot let this go until we brag on and talk about our Atlanta Hawks and their scintillating performance in Game 4. First, Mr. Poole, did you get a chance to watch the Hawks man up, bow up, and take Game 4?
Yes, I did. I actually was pleased with what I saw and what I'm seeing with the Hawks. When you hear the term stepping up your game, of course, everybody want to talk about Trey and all that stuff, but stepping up your game, Bogdanovic. When you think about this guy, from 2017 to 2020, the guy's averaging I believe like 14 points. But in this series against the Sixers, man, he stepped up his game. He's averaging like 19 points per game. So, he had 22, in Game 4, just the other night. So this guy's stepping up his game. So I really like what I'm seeing the Hawks play as a team. So it's not all about, Trae Young and everything like that. These guys are stepping up, and I think if you're going to win a championship, you have to have a complete team. And Bogdanovic, he's really doing a great job. I like the way he's playing.
Tree, how about you?
Well, I'm excited, right? So when I was first watching the game, I was very concerned. I'm pretty sure all of the Hawks fans were, because it wasn't looking good for the home team. Trey wasn't making the shots that he normally makes. You can tell that his shoulder was bothering him. And defense, it just wasn't happening on defense. But what I will say is I was very happy when in the second half, John Collins, if you ask me, is the one who really peaked the game when the Hawks really started getting fired up and making great plays, and even the crowd just went bananas because he has some monstrous dunks that really just electrified the Hawks State Farm Arena. And honestly, I feel that it was a huge game changer. So he gets the big shout out for the game from me. I know that it didn't just take him. Of course, we needed other players to jump on board, but we all know in sports that you have those different momentum shifts. And when he came with those big dunks, it really changed the momentum. It got the crowd fired up, which was the sixth man on the court. And the Hawks just really started playing in their rhythm. So I think that was a big game changer, and I'm very happy that they won Game 4 because, in my opinion, Game 4 was a must-win for the Hawks.
Yeah, it's almost like a Game 7. Let's take a look at some of the keys in that game. Okay, number one, Trae Young continued making and managing the game in spite of an injury and some poor shooting early on. 18 assists and just 2 turnovers. The team themselves only had 4 turnovers. As you just mentioned, John Collins, they ran plays for him early, and he made big plays on his own. He stayed involved offensively and defensively throughout the game. Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, they kept the defensive pressure on them, got them frustrated, and incredible team defense in the second half. They held the Sixers to just 38 points in the second half. After the first 3 games, they had given up 61 points, 66 points, and 73 points in the second half. The Hawks totally shut down the Sixers in the second half, and you can see the frustration on both of the Sixers' key players there in the second half. Tyrone, I know you liked it because you talk all the time about people performing in the big moments. How pleased were you with John Collins and the rest of that team? Like I said, just being able to man up, especially if they're going down by 18.
Again, like I said, it's more, John Collins, yeah, he hit his shots and all that stuff, but, John Collins can't win games by himself. Basketball may be one of them sports where you give it to the hot hand. But again, I think about Clint Capella. He's still averaging double digits in the rebounds. So, as I said, he's working that thing. But when I look at the Hawks as an overall team, their shooting percentage really wasn't good in Game 4. I think he was shooting like 36% based off of what they normally would shoot. And I think the highest that they ever shot in the series with the Sixers was 51% as a team. So they got to get better in that area. Another couple of things, the free throw. These are free points that are given. So they got to take advantages of that. They didn't miss as many, but still, when you are like 85%, 81% from the free throw line, you're actually missing points, free points that are given to you. And my last thing is the fact that Game 5, based off of NBA history, the team that wins Game 5 when it is a 2-2 tied series, the series is tied 2-2. From my understanding, back since 1984, the team that won Game 5 went on 84% of the time to win the series. So the Hawks, if they're going to win this Game 5 and they're going back to Philadelphia, they better shoot from the field better. They better make those free throws. And Clint Capella and Bogdanovic, all the guys, they need to step their game up.
Yeah, no doubt. So they had a lot of problems against the Sixers defense. Keep in mind, this is one of the better defensive teams in the league. You got a guy in Ben Simmons who is a consistent threat to be Defensive Player of the Year, and Joel Embiid, obviously at 7'1", I think he's almost 280 pounds, formidable as far as rim protection. The biggest thing that the Hawks did was they stayed in there. They just hung in there. They were persistent. A team that is technically smaller than the Sixers were able to keep them about the same level. They both had 61 rebounds. The Hawks did very good on offensive rebounds, and it gave them a lot of shots. And they took a staggering 101 shots for the game.
Which 36% though. That's my thing. You take a lot of shots, but you got to make them. That's just like Atlanta Airport. The Atlanta Airport said they're the busiest airport in America. Yeah, that sounds good, but people complain about getting through the lines. So is that really good?
Well, I get what you're saying, but at the end of the day, it kind of reminds me of what you see in football. It's nothing good's going to happen if in a football game you let a team get 80 or 90 plays in that game, because at some point fatigue or something's going to kick in. It's just a numbers game. At some point, like I said, if you're shooting 33%, you take enough shots, you're going to hit enough shots. And that's what happened with the Hawks. They took so many shots that 33% still netted out about 34 field goals, which allowed them, along with the few few free throws they did hit to put them over the top at 103, 100. So, yep, you're right. They got a lot of things to shore up. Number one, they have to find some way, I believe, to get their three-point shooting range up closer to 40% if they expect to kind of, win 2 of the next 3 games. Number two, they're going to have to get some more consistent scoring early from all the moving parts. What's happened with the Hawks is like one guy gets hot for a minute, then he cools off, another guy gets hot, another segment. You talked about Bogey. Bogey has been sensational. Matter of fact, to me, he was a big key for the Hawks at least staying in the shouting distance early in the game because he was the only one scoring. The rest of the guys looked like, I don't want to say deer in the headlights, but they looked like they were forcing a lot of shots and it looked like adrenaline had taken over. So having him there, having that stability, having a guy that's fearless, already has won and played at the highest level of the Euro League. Same thing with Gallinari. These guys looked very, very calm, and it gave the Hawks the time to, in the second half when they came out, the younger players, although they didn't shoot that well, they were like, look, man, we're going to do whatever we have to do to win. We're going to keep pressure on these guys defensively. We're going to try to turn them over. We're going to get second half points, and we don't care if we have to take 50 shots as long as we get one more shot that they needed to do to win. And like I said, it wasn't pretty, but they got to win.
And guess
what? Well, that's the thing with basketball. You may not make your shots, but the thing that you definitely want to do is to continue to shoot. So if you're missing shots, everybody will tell you, keep shooting, because once you start seeing the ball go into the hoop, then it's just like, okay, I found my shot. And then you typically start making a shot. So yeah, those stats are not good, and they definitely need to come out on fire. So for game 5, the Hawks need to come out like they did in game 1. The only difference is that they need to continue to play like they did in the beginning of game 1, but definitely not the end of game 1, because they need to play aggressive the entire game, and they need to start with the lead and hopefully keep a lead so that they can get the W.
And guess what? Philadelphia, they're saying the same things.
Right.
So Rivers telling his team the same thing. So guess what? Again, that's why game 5 is so important in a 2-2 series, or when it's tied 2-2. So rest assured, the Sixers are going to come back out a better team than this game 4 was.
Oh yeah, I mean, you think about it. They know themselves that it was the same thing that the Hawks were facing in game 4. For Hawks, the game 4 is like a game 7. Is win or go home. They knew basically if we lose this game, we cannot go 3-1 down going back to Philadelphia for game 5, because that means most likely we're going to have an early vacation. Well, the Sixers are thinking the same thing. We don't want to be in a situation going down 3-2 and having to go back to Atlanta to try to, keep them from winning the series in their home crowd, especially the way the home crowd was on game 4. They were just, talk about 6-man, they were just incredible. So yeah, man, it's gonna be a knockdown, drag out. What do you think, both of you, about? I think this nifty chess match between the two head coaches that they, one guy makes an adjustment. Doc Rivers did his thing. He came back with Ben Simmons to try to shut Trey down. They won 2 games in a row, and then now Coach Nate McMillan come out with the big lineup in the second half to kind of neutralize Embiid and Simmons. What do you guys think about this coaching chess match we're seeing? Tree, you first.
That's what it's all about. You have to make adjustments during the game. Otherwise, you will not be successful. So when you see what the other team is doing on offense and on defense, then you have to make adjustments and do what's best for your team so that you can stop them, because the whole point is to not let them score as often as possible, and then make sure that you're still controlling the pace and the speed of the game to your play. And so coaches will do what they need to do to try to maintain the speed of the game where they actually are the ones in control.
Tyrone, how about you? What do you think about this chess match between these two coaches that we've seen so far?
Oh, that's the beauty of sports, when you got 2 former players now coaching against one another. So that what makes the game even more intriguing, versus having someone who basically never played the game, or they were on a team but never really got out there on the court. You got 2 guys who have actually played at the highest level for a long time, Doc Rivers and Coach McMillan. So, again, it's awesome just to see the chess match. It ain't checkers, it's chess match. So I love it when you have former players coaching against one another. They played against one another, now they're coaching against one another. So they know exactly how them guys are feeling out there on the court. They can see when the guy is dragging up the court, the guy doesn't get back fast enough. Hey, I've seen this when I was playing. we need to do this, we need to do that. That's how you attack it. So I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, man, it's been must-see TV. I mean, each time you think that one guy kind of got the advantage, almost like a prize fight. You see one guy kind of, start, okay, I can get him with the left hook. Then it's like, he goes back to his corner and say, hey, man, you got to watch out for the left hook. We got to hit the counter. It's just been fantastic, man, because I really, in both cases, the initial move by each coach looked like he had the other guy, like, knocked out. If you look at game one, the Hawks came out. They were blistering from three-point range. They were up-tempo, and really for 3 quarters and 10 minutes, they were crushing the Sixers. Then the Sixers come back. They make the adjustment, put Ben Simmons on Trey. Now, all of a sudden, the Hawks can't buy a basket, and games 2 and 3, they look lost. Game 4, second half, they come back. They make the adjustment with the big lineup. And B, Simmons, they're frustrated. They're going back and forth at the refs. So, yeah, man, it's definitely must-see TV. And the Hawks, I'm going to read some stats here. The Hawks are a team that before were being out-muscled, out-bullied. If you look at that game, let's look at some of the stats. Sixers only had a 55-49 edge in total rebounds, only 6. But the Hawks actually had more offensive rebounds, 12-8. Hawks came back once again with Trey doing what he had to do with 18 assists, 24 assists for the Hawks. Interestingly enough, Sixers had 6 blocks. Hawks had 4. The Hawks actually had more steals than the Sixers, 5-2. And this was a huge thing. Hawks only had 4 turnovers for the entire game,
which is phenomenal.
4 turnovers for the entire game.
Okay, we talking about the coaching, like players who have played and now they coaching. I'm a kind of get in the time machine to go back when the Bulls played the Supersonics in the finals. Now, if Doc Rivers and Coach McMillan had been coaching, either one of them coaching the Supersonics, and we're talking about Ben Simmons and Trey Young, okay? Doc Rivers says, I'm going to put my best guy defensively on Trey, and I'm going to slow him down. Now, do you think Coach Carl, who was the coach at the time with the Seattle Seahawks, he actually took Gary Payton later in the game and put him on Michael Jordan? You think Doc Rivers would have said, hey, I know the game, I played the game. No, you know what, Gary, you going to guard Michael the whole game. And do you think Seattle probably could have won the championship?
Yeah, I mean, because you have to. Sometimes you got to go against strength. That's just the way it works. I mean, you can't get around it. Let's go to social media. Todd saying, I believe it will go 7. And unfortunately, Todd, game 7 will be in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
so you better hope that game goes 6 for Atlanta's sake. But listen, Atlanta's won on the road. I mean, they have proven they can win on the road. So, I mean, you don't want to do that, but it's possible. Yeah, man, this team is just
hey. So if they can win on the road, they need to get this next one because this is do or die for the most part.
Yeah, Tyron, what would you say the statistics were? 84% of the guys that win game 5 going to win the series?
That's what NBA history since 1984. The team that had won game 5, 84% of the time go on and win the series.
Well, that means the Hawks better do everything they can to win the series, and it's going to be their ability to continue to match up well. I think that tempo and pace is very, very critical because the Hawks are a little bit younger. You have an injured Embiid, and I just think, man, they're going to have to kind of press the ball and basically not so much running for the sake of running, but like Coach McMillan has said repeatedly, getting into their sets quicker, getting to the point where they're running off of these screens to get these three-point guys to look. But here's the bottom line. The Hawks had a lot of open looks in game 4. They didn't hit them, but they had a lot of open looks. You cannot think that that's going to go on indefinitely. If they get those open looks again in game 5, I like the Hawks' chances. I'm just saying. I think a good shot. All right, guys, we appreciate all those of you who have been listening and watching. You probably say, what are you doing? You getting off? Nope. We're going to take another break. You listen to the Real Talk Sports Show because, we got to advertise. We'll be back in just a moment. Stay tuned.
Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our #1 priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net. The day has arrived. It's time to let more people know about your business. You have the right marketing plan and the messaging in place. But do you have the right messenger? Good advertising and promotions need a professional sound so the message can be clearly understood. Don't leave your brand image to chance. Let our team of voiceover experts at CME lend you a hand. Give us a call at 678-304-8121 to find out how we can partner with you to give your business its voice.
Thank you for joining us here on the final segment of the Real Talk Sports Show. Going around the horn again, we have the lovely Queen, Miss Tree Dolman, and we have the Super Bowl champion, Tyrone Poole, in the building. Well, guys, we've had a changing of the guard. We've had a major move. It's been over a week now. Number 11, but number one in our hearts, Julio Jones is gone over to Tennessee. They've shown some clips of him back in camp doing OTAs, which he normally doesn't do with the Falcons because he's always trying to conserve himself. Tyrone, have you been able to take a peek over at some of the videos? And if so, what do you think about Julio and his potential impact on the Titans?
Well, no, I haven't seen videos or too much of any feed on what Julio is doing in Tennessee, but I do know based off of his past that he will impact that team. When I look at Julio, when people speak of his injuries, I'm like, he has, just common injuries that anyone's going to suffer, especially in a game of football. You're going to suffer strains and sprains and strains and all that stuff. But when I look at the most, did he have any invasive surgeries? That is what slows down an athlete. But all these strains, all that needs to do is be healed. Give it time, and you can heal a sprain, and you can heal a strain. But I think Julio is going to have a very, very impactful. He's going to be very impactful with Tennessee, and I think he's going to make that offense even more elite. Again, they got a great running game already with Henry, and Brown made a name for himself. Now, as a defensive coordinator, that's your nightmare. You got to pick your poison, as they say. You either load up the box to stop Henry, and now you expose your corners and safeties, or you drop back and take away the pass and let the run the clock out, and it's a low-scoring game, but you don't get too many opportunities on your offensive side. So, you talk about chess matches. Whoever plays Tennessee next year, it's going to be a real chess match.
Tree, how about you? What do you think about Julio's potential impact with the Titans?
He's going to have a great impact with the Titans. You can already tell that he's motivated and he's excited to be there. And, it's kind of like when I think of him, I think of what my Detroit Pistons went through when you had Blake Griffin, who was playing for them. And he didn't have all of these great stats. He was barely performing. And now he goes to his new team. And with the Nets, he's just playing outstanding, has all of these dunks. And he has 0 dunks for the Pistons and just playing this amazing basketball. Derrick Rose was the same way. So when you're on a team and you really don't want to be there and there's different things that's going on with the team, when you go to a new team, it gives some people just new life and it feels like it's a new start. And so I think with Julio, with him expressing how he wanted to leave and now he has this opportunity with the Tennessee Titans and with all of the pieces that they have in play, it's just like what Tyrone was saying. Pick your poison, but I think that he definitely has something that he wants to prove to a lot of people, which I won't say a lot of people. I think a lot of people do realize that he is going to still be a great wide receiver. His stats speak for themselves, but you have those few doubters that are trying to talk about his age and just different things with his injuries. And so I think that he has something to prove to those people. So I think that he will definitely be successful this year because I think he has just a little bit of a chip on his shoulder.
Speaking of the doubters, our good friend, affiliate man, has thrown the shade already. He says, number one, the Falcons will be better without Julio. And he says that Julio is hurt. So I'm not sure where that comes from. But now he also says that, let me make sure I got this right here. He said, write it down, preacher. By game 4, Julio will be hurt. Well, whether Julio's hurt or not, I want to read you guys the stats because sometimes people talk about, like Tyrone say, talk about all the injuries and that other thing. Okay, so Julio was injured or dealing with a hamstring for most of last season. Okay, I'm going to let you listen to his stats for a guy that was banged up. Julio Jones had 51 receptions for almost 800 yards. He averaged 15 yards of reception, and he had a long of 44 yards. The year before, he had 99 receptions. It was the first time in 6 years he did not have at least 100 receptions, almost 1,400 yards, 14 yards a catch, and 6 touchdowns. That don't seem to me like a guy that broke down. I'm just saying. Now, how many more years like that he has left, I don't know, but I think he's going to make a huge impact. Because, listen, even on the Falcons, think about this. The guy caught 100 receptions, and a lot of times he was a decoy. That's how Calvin Ridley was able to do what he did. A lot of times guys were focusing so much on Julio that other guys were able to get free, and he still had 100 receptions. Yeah, man, he's going to be a major impact on that Titans team because, like you said, you got a guy just rushed for 2,000 yards. You got a future first ballot Hall of Famer now as your number one receiver, and you got a guy who was pretty competent last year in A.J. Brown as a number one receiver. Now he's going to the 2. Yeah, it's going to be a bad situation trying to defend those Titans.
And I say this as well. Sometimes you go from one system to another system. You know, Julio was coming from a system that was panicky. They had to win. They were forced to win. The pressure was on. They probably worked the players harder than they were supposed to work. Then now he's going to a team that they know they have a great opportunity to win a championship. So the atmosphere is not as hard or it's not as rigid. And the coach used to play ball himself, Mike Vrabel. I played with Mike Vrabel. So I think Julio's going to a great system. Actually, I think it's going to add life to his career by being in Tennessee because there are some coaches that are player coaches and they understand the body. They don't have hard practices. They know when to lay off. They know when to push the players versus some coaches who are up under pressure and they got to win right now. So there are no days off. So I think he's going into a situation, unlike if he had stayed in Atlanta, they still trying to search themselves. But in Tennessee, they know who they are. They're not going to ask Julio to do nothing but what Julio can do in that offense to help them win. So the pressure is going to be taken off of Julio, and I think it's going to extend the longevity of his career.
Oh, yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, like I said, the Titans are ready to go. I mean, they're a step away from, being a Super Bowl contender. Let's go back to social media here at one of our Falcons pages here. We got Anthony Kersey saying, well, Julio was missing games and really was producing. So, I mean, here's what I'm going to say about this, okay? It all gets down to the basics. To me, I done said several times, I'm going to say it again, the Falcons, to me, look like deja vu all over again. They know they have a quarterback that and Matt, I'm going to say it to you. They have a quarterback. It's not that he's not mobile. He doesn't want to be mobile. Okay, this idea that Matt is a statue back there, he can't run, all that kind of stuff is a lot of hullabaloo because we've seen Matt at times take off and pick up those 2, 3, 4 critical yards. He just doesn't like doing it. So since they know that, and since they've got him under contract for at least another 2 more years, they're going to set this team up the way they did in 2008. They're going to try to have a good, solid, up-the-middle running game, and they're going to run a lot of play-action fakes. They have a big-time tight end, or which they hope is a big-time tight end, at least a big target, with 6'6", Kyle Pitt, who can run, I think, like a 4.4 40. They have another tight end they can bring in to run double tight end sets who also can catch the ball, a former number 1 pick. And they have Calvin Ridley, who has proven, even when Julio was injured, that he can be a potential number 1 receiver. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to go right back to what they did between 2008 and 2012, play action fake, try to control the ball if they get a lead, and hopefully some kind of way do what Tree's been telling them for years, find some defensive help. If they can do that, I stand by my 10-7. I'm just saying. Y'all give me that look like, preacher, you crazy. All right, let's go here to Todd on social media. He says, Tyrone, I want you to talk to me a little bit about the Patriots. The kid is beating out Cam. What do you think? So he's talking about the idea of the young man, Mac Jones from Alabama, so far has looked better. Cam and Camp, what do you think?
Well, from my professional point of view, mini camps don't mean anything. They don't mean anything. It's giving Mac an opportunity to learn the system, but at the end of the day, you want to put the guy back there that has the most experience. And at the end of the day, the first game of the season, I expect to see Cam behind quarterback. And yes, he feels Mac nipping at his heels, and that will be Mac's job to be the quarterback of the Patriots. But right now, it's Cam's. And I think what we're seeing is just the way the game is played. The young guy is always going to look better than the veteran because the veteran says, hey, you know what? It's a long season, kid. So wait until we get to this point. Then let's really start comparing. But right now, it's too early in the game.
Anthony Kersey, also from one of the Falcons pages, says pitch equals another Julio. Whew, that's a big statement there. So Falcons basically are the same team. Mike Davis, speaking of a hometown guy they got from the Panthers, is not Michael Turner, and that's the truth. But that statement about Pitts being Julio, well, that's a. I mean, so that potential maybe to be another Gonzalez type guy, but man, you talking about 2 first ballot Hall of Famers, man. It's too early to be talking about that. I mean, I hope the guy blows up, but I don't know. Tree, what would you like to see the Falcons do at this point to help kind of make this team possibly be a winner?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, they're drafting who they think they need, so I'm just waiting to see what they do when football season starts. So I know that they're in practice and they're doing the mini camps and going through everything that they need to go through. They're hiring coaches. So that was the main thing with me was, hey, I think we need a new coach in here because we have talented players, but you have to have that coach that can motivate and pull that greatness out of players and bring that team together and get that fight in them. And so I'm very curious to see what this coach is going to do once the season starts. I'm waiting to see. So you're saying they're going to be 10-7. I definitely do not think they will be 10-7. But hey, they may shock the world. So I'm just waiting to see.
Oh, we're gonna do it like that now? That it? You just like discarded my 10-7.
I didn't discard it because hey, you may be right. Remember how you looked at me when I said early on that I felt that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Kansas City Chiefs would play in the Super Bowl, and I thought Tampa Bay would be the first team to ever win the Super Bowl at home. Do you remember the look that you gave me? Yeah.
This looked like this, like.
Yeah, like
right.
I was doing something, right? So, but we see that happened, right? So your 10-7 could definitely happen. So I'm not discarding it because, hey, you never know with the changes that they've made. It could be possible. I just don't see it. But no, you could be right.
I'm just saying, I just think that 2 tight end offense is going to be very, very explosive. Mm-hmm. I think that having, again, a guy like a Kyle Pitts who potentially could be a game changer because of all the things he can do. And Hayden Hurst showed last year, he showed flashes that he could be a pretty darn good tight end. Let's go back to the Falcons page. Anthony Kersey, he says, LOL, we're drafting at 4 again. So he thinks we're going to be so bad we're going to have a number 4 pick. Wow.
No,
I think Kyle Pitts is going to be huge, though. I do think that he will be good for the Falcons, and I think he was a good pick.
I think too, Arthur Smith, we got to understand who he is. It's kind of like the late Dennis Green, the old former coach of the Vikings, rest his soul. He said they are who we thought they were.
They are. Yep.
Okay. Arthur Smith, he's a guy, yes, he runs the 2 tight end set. Now, how you going to use Pitts? This is how I see him using Pitts. He going to come and they got Mike Davis. They're going to try to run the ball like Mike Davis is Henry. But we all know they're different breeds. He's going to try to take and split Pitts from the line of scrimmage, detach him, where now you have 11 personnel, which those who don't understand what 11 personnel is, you have 2 receivers, 2 tight ends, 1 running back. Only 5 people go out, right? So how they come up with the number system, I'll talk about that some other time when we have time. But Arthur Smith runs a 2 tight end set. Now, how I see him utilizing Pitts, you got to have a pass catching tight end and a run blocking tight end. Whenever you have a 2 tight end set, he's going to probably try to create mismatches with a linebacker and Pitts, because when you bring in 2 tight ends, the defense then brings in more linebackers. And usually those linebackers are not geared to cover. And with Pitts being able to run, that's how I see the Falcons actually being able to manipulate the game where they can line up in a 2 tight end set with Pitts. He's attached to the offensive line, and they can run the ball. And if the defense chooses to keep the linebackers out there, then they're going to split Pitts from the offensive line and let him work one-on-one with that linebacker. If the defense chooses to bring in a nickel back, which is a corner, then they're going to bring Pitts and attach him back to the offensive line. They're going to try to run Davis. So at the end of the day, that's how I see it. But they still got to have somebody get over the top. And this is where Calvin Ridley has to be able to get over the top. And if he cannot get over the top and stretch that defense, then good luck on trying to run the ball or anything underneath. So we're going to see. It's going to be a lot of interesting things to look at for the Falcons this year.
All right, speaking of that, I'm going to put a name out here. I've been talking about this guy for 2 years. I think they've wasted his talents. I'm going to put it out here. The former Pitt Panther, Quadri Allison. I want to see him get some touches. I think he is a guy that can run the ball in between the tackles, especially. I think this is a guy that can get you some good yardage. The times that he carried the ball when they needed him on 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, this guy consistently got first downs. I think that he needs to get the ball. I'm not thinking anything about Mike Davis, but I think that Quadri Allison could be a guy that can really be very impactful on this team as a big power back. So remember, guys, the name Quadri Allison, former Pittsburgh Panther, former All-ACC, 2nd or 3rd team, I think it was All-American, averaged 6.3 yards a carry in his senior year. I'm just saying, Quadri Allison, give him the ball. So that's all I got to say about those Falcons, man. I think that they need to utilize the talent that they have. I think Arthur Smith is going to do that. I think he's going to do some things that you will see in terms of stretch running plays, stuff we don't necessarily have to have an overpowering line, but we can kind of find those gaps and get some good yardage on the ground. And I think the other thing, too, is both Davis and Allison are pretty good with yards after the catch. They have a tendency to fall forward, which is always a good thing. So, yeah, man, I'm standing on my 10-7. Hopefully I'm not on this show crying sometime in October if they're 0-5, but I'm just 10-7. That's my call right there. Anything else you think that this team can do? What can they do defensively? I mean, is there anybody out there that I'm missing? I'm missing D. Lettis. He has a big dinner that he's doing at with the AJC. That's why he's not here tonight. But I'm thinking, man, they got to find some way to at least get that defense up to an average defense. So no matter what they do offensively, it's not going to work. Would you think that's correct, Tyrone? Am I missing a mark on that?
No, I'm like Tree. Defense wins championships. And, you look at the Falcons, you can put anybody, draft anybody in that secondary all you want. But I'm a true and firm believer that it starts on the D line. You got to be able to stop the run, and you got to be able to put pressure on the quarterback with how they play the game. You got to have a good defensive end that can rush the quarterback and also be smart enough to recognize the run. Because just because you got a guy who can rush the outside, you'll find teams will run at that guy because he runs himself out of position. So you got to have 2 tackles that can push the pocket. So it's going to be interesting to see how that front plays for the Atlanta Falcons. That's going to be the telltale sign of how far and how many games they can truly win.
Let's take a look at the depth chart here of the Falcons for defense. This is what they got right here. In the base 4-3 defense, obviously the guy who's a stud for this team in the middle, Grady Jarrett. They got on the right defensive end, Dante Fowler, a guy who so far, some of his injuries, has underperformed. Tyler Davidson, a guy they banked a lot in, number 2, second-round draft pick out of Auburn. And then a guy who kind of came on late last year, Jacob, and I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Tayuti Mariner, had a couple of sacks late, and they're also looking for the kid they drafted out of Texas, Taquan Graham, to make an impact there on the other side. So that's what you're looking at down at that front line. Linebackers, we know what we got here. Deion Jones, middle linebacker, great guy, can go from side to side. Foyo Aluakan from Yale University came on big last year. Also a guy that can cover a lot of territory at the strong side linebacker and weak side linebacker, Michael Walker. So with Jones and Aluakan and Grady Jarrett, those 3 guys we think are true players on that defense and can make impact. The question is, can the rest of those guys do what they need to do? We're gonna do what we need to do. We got to go social media here. Let's go. We already know he said the drafting at number 4 again. Affiliate man Matt Todd says, but can Matt get the ball deep to Ridley deep? Do you think he's got the arm to do it? Are we making too much about Matt's arm, Tyrone, or is that really a real bad spot for the Falcons that his arm just can't get it out there to the deep ball?
Well, I think it's very important. You look at the games from last year, you didn't see Matt really throw a lot of deep balls. And I'm a firm believer they're not going to ask you to do anything that you can't do consistently. So, yes, he may be able to get a couple of throws, but he got to get that ball out quick. I don't think he can allow the receiver to continue to run down the field and all of a sudden he wait and then try to throw it to him. I think Matt can throw the deep ball, but he has to release it quicker and sooner. And, doing that, sometimes you can have a safety that can sit deep in the middle of the field and still be able to get over and pick that ball off. So I don't think his arm is as strong as it used to be, but I think he's still capable of throwing a deep ball, probably not as consistent as when he was younger.
Well, before we wrap it up, I got a very nice challenge here. I think I'm going to have to adjust my glasses here. Todd has said to me the following. He said, Preacher, I will buy a new truck from you, sir, if they win more than 5 games. Buddy boy, you better go to the bank and get your down payment money ready for that new F-150 that you're going to be driving when the Falcons win more than 5 games, sir. It's documented right here on the show.
Yeah, I think they're gonna win. I think they're gonna win more than 5 games, just from the simple fact that Dean Pease is what a lot of people are forgetting too. Dean Pease, I had an opportunity to play with him as well as a coach, and believe me, the defense alone is going to get some opportunity for the Falcon to win some games because he knows how to generate pass rush and he plays a bend but don't break defense. So yes, I do see the Falcons creating a few opportunities for their offense on defense.
Ms. Dolman, any other comments you want to add, madam?
No, I mean, I agree. I do think that the Falcons will win more than 5 games. So looks like he's in the market to get a new truck.
Evidently, and he's going to look to get it from the preacher. Amen. Well, look, you know how we do it, guys. We always go around the horn before we sign off. First of all, to the Super Bowl champion, Tyrone Poole, the floor is yours.
It's always a great honor to be on Real Talk Sports. And instead of saying, I know we had the little situation in the beginning talking about marriage and all that, we're going to turn this also into a TMZ. We're going to call it RTS. Real Talk Sports. So that's going to be our segment when we talk about people's lives. But anyways, if you want to follow me, you can follow me at TyronePoole38 on all social media. It's always an honor, Minister, and glad to see you again, Tree, and be a part of the show with you.
And there's guys right there, Tyrone Poole at TyronePoole38. See, this is what I love about you, Tyrone. You always give me good ideas. RTS. Oh, we got to think about that. All right, bro. Until next week. Be blessed.
Bye.
All right. The queen, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. You can find me on social media at It's Latresa and Ms. America International 2020.
So you know why she does it short and sweet? Because I got the purple banner all around her. I'm gonna let the purple speak for itself.
I love the purple.
Amen. Well, listen, guys. You know me. I'm just that guy. I'm not Tree Doman. No. There I am, right here. Yep, so that's me, Mr. Jonathan Simmons. I'd like to have you guys follow the show. So follow us on social media at Real Talk Sports 7. You can send me an email directly, jsimmons@realtalksports.net. Love to connect with you any kind of way. We are happy to do so, and we appreciate you if you would do that. Well, before I go, I am in fact a real live minister, so I want to encourage you. If you don't have a relationship with God, if you don't know Jesus Christ, your personal Savior, I will tell you, please, sir, get to know him today. Why? Because nobody loves you like Jesus. Not your mom, not your auntie, not your grandma, not your BFF, not your bae, not your boo, not your ride and die partner. None of them love you like him. Because 2 things. 1, he loves you. Number 2, he died for you. Which, what do you mean? Do you know that he paid the one-time atonement for all the sins of all mankind? So that means for you to have a connection with God, all you have to do is the following things. 1, repent of your sins. Tell God, hey, I'm wrong. He's right. Number 2, believe that Jesus did exactly what I told you. Came to earth as both man and God and paid the one-time price for all people's sin. And when he rose from the dead, which he did on that one great morning, that now all you have to do is confess what I just mentioned and believe, and you will now be born again. What does that mean? It means two things. Number one, you become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. And number two, you become an adopted child of God with all the benefits therein. Number one, you can now go to God directly yourself and pray and ask him for whatever you need or desire, and ask in the name of his son, Jesus Christ, and he will, according to his will, grant it to you. And number two, you have a life well lived upon the earth. Not problem free, but you'll be a part of God's plan upon the earth. And how cool is that? And last but not least, you get a chance when you die. And I get a chance guaranteed to go when you die to a place called heaven. Most beautiful place that anybody's ever thought of, beyond imagination. Everything beautiful, buildings adorned with the most spectacular jewels. The streets are paved with gold, so pure it's translucent. And the good news is, no bad people, no pandemic, no protest, no pain. You never get old. It never gets dark. And you get to be around happy people all the time. You get to catch up with some folks that have gone on before you. And you avoid that unhappy place called hell, where all the things that are in heaven are not in hell. So you got pain, you got problems, you got bad people everywhere. It's dark, stinky, smelly, and you're cut off from God forever and a day. I don't know about you, but I like option number one instead of option number two. All right, guys, you know we do it. Until the next time, God bless you and have a spectacular and wonderful day. So long and good night.